G'day fellas, and welcome to an exciting video where we get to talk about the Byzantines. That is correct. The devs have given me a little bit of information on the backside and said, here you go, Drongo, have a chat about the Byzantines. Now, of course, this will be updated on the website by the time this video gets uploaded. You'll be able to see it. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can catch that. So let's get into this video. This, of course, is going to be an edited video, which means that there'll be two parts to it. The first part, I'm just going to be talking over these images as they play through. Beautiful images, lovely images, the best images. That's my Donald impression right there for you. And the second part, of course, is going to be us breaking down each of those images, trying to get a bit of an idea about the things that we've talked about in the first part. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about playing the Byzantines. The Byzantines bolster their forces by using olive oil, a fifth resource unique to this civilization to hire a vast array of mercenary forces. The civilization gains access to olive oil over time by gathering from the unique olive grove that replaces the standard farm. With access to such a broad roster of units and mercenaries, the Byzantines' highly varied army is capable of adapting to whatever they encounter. Additionally, networks of aqueducts and cisterns provide water to all corners of the Byzantine Empire, providing a variety of enhancements to all nearby villages and buildings. As more cisterns are connected, the water level increases, improving their effectiveness. And finally, you can engulf your opponents in fire and flame. Yes, the good stuff. So, trebuchets, dromons, Chirosophons, I think they're pronounced, I hope I'm getting that correct. They are all fire-breathing dragons in this version of the game, so it's definitely worth getting. So let's start by talking about the landmarks. After that, we'll move on to the unique units. But, and then I guess we can talk about the unique mechanics as well as we go through, because there's quite a lot of different things to cover here. So let's start off and talk about first things first. Age 1. You've just spawned in as the Byzantines. What are you going to do? You're going to throw down your very first cistern. And slowly but steadily, you're going to expand out your network. But in Age 1, you're just going to put that cistern, plonk it down right next to your town center, and gain yourself a gathering bonus. For all around your TC, it gives you a huge gathering bonus for your villages. It also gives you a bonus to buildings. So depending on what you're feeling, now I can't go into details about the specific bonuses it gives the buildings because it doesn't cover that in the information I've been given. But I can tell you it's pretty exciting, it's pretty cool, and it's really fun. So you start off with that, and you've got, like every other civilization or most other civilizations, you've got two options when it comes to your landmarks. Now, one of the things I noticed early on with this civilization is that there are very much two clear pathways that you can go down. You can go down one where there's three clear landmarks that you should be choosing all sequentially. They synergize very well. And then on the other side, there are three landmarks that you should also be choosing. And they're not mutually exclusive, but it kind of makes sense to stick with them. They've got two pathways that you can choose from. And the way I thought about it was like you've kind of got your team game pathway, and then you've got your 1v1 pathway. That's the way I thought about it. But anyway, let's get to it. So the first landmark that we're going to be talking about is the Grand Winery. So this is a feudal age landmark. So you take it from the Dark Age up to the feudal age, and it creates the opportunity to recruit mercenaries because it increases your production of olive oil. So it's going to boost that production up. So remember before we talked about the fact that the Byzantines have got a unique farm. That's the olive grove. So the olive grove produces olive oil, and the Grand Winery produces or allows those olive groves to retrieve or to produce more olive oil. So the olive oil is what you use to purchase or to hire those mercenaries. So that's the very first thing, and that's in an AoE around it, or a radius around it, that it's going to boost that up. So you want to put farms in right around that landmark. It's a really cool landmark. It's definitely my favorite. So that's the first landmark that you've got access to. Now, we get a picture of that here. We don't get a picture of the second landmark, which is called the Imperial Hippodrome. And that brings the opportunity to quickly produce cavalry units. So it's got a couple of other bonuses. Obviously, I can't talk about those right now, but it's got its other synergy. So that's your first landmark. Second landmark that we're going to be talking about is going to Age 3, where you can choose between the Golden Horn Tower or the cistern of the first hill. So the Golden Horn Tower is what synergizes with your Grand Winery, and that's because it allows automatic recruitment of mercenaries at no cost. So basically think of it like your military school, except instead of producing, 1 unit or 2 units, it's producing a lot of units, and it's for free. And so you're basically having synergy here with the whole idea of mercenaries. I can't talk too much about how the mercenary mechanic works, and we'll find out more information in due course about it. But for the moment, I can tell you there's a really nice synergy here. We get to see a beautiful picture of the Golden Horn Tower that has been rotating behind here. So the other landmark you've got in Age 3, or going to Age 3, I should say, is going to be that Cistern of the First Hill, and that actually provides you a special ability called the Pilgrim Flask technology. And it gives you a massive healing bonus that is going to heal all of your units. And so really, really cool bonus. But it's one of those things where it's like you don't want to forget about it, and at the same time, you kind of need to choose the right units if you're going to use that. So Imperial Hippodrome, we talked about how it could produce cavalry units quickly. You can see the kind of synergy there, right? Like you want these high health units. You're sort of your knights, right? And I'm not talking about knights, I'm talking about unique knights, and we'll get to that a little bit later. And then finally, going from Age 3 to Age 4, you've got the option of 2 landmarks once again. So it comes with the option of either producing siege engines from across the known world with the aid of the Foreign Engineering Company, or strengthening and training additional units from the core Byzantine roster from the Palatine School. So you can see once again you've got those 2 different things. So the first one is going to be, you know, that theme around the mercenaries, whereas the second one is going to be themed more towards the traditional Byzantine roster. So there you go. That's going to be it. So overall, I absolutely love the landmarks from the Byzantines. I can't wait to be able to talk to you guys more about all of the possibilities that you've got with them, but I love the direction that the devs went with them. Really fun. I can see use cases for both of them in every single age. So I love it to bits. I love all the mechanics that they've got, and I can confirm I will be 100% a Byzantine main. I don't care if they're a weak civ. All I care about is just playing the Byzantines. They're so much fun, and it's such an aesthetic civilization. So anyway, let's get into the next part, which is going to be talking about their units. So there's a whole bunch of unique units, not to mention, so I don't even think, these aren't even all of the units. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that, but there's a lot of stuff, okay? So first and foremost, one of the most famous famous units for the Byzantines, it's the Cataphract. Completely enclosed in scale armor and equipped with a powerful lance, the Cataphract replaces the knight at a higher cost. Groups of Cataphract are capable of a devastating charge that tramples anything in their path. This unit is going to change the way that Age of Empires 4 is played. It is such a crazy unit to be able to witness on the battlefield. I can't wait to be able to share with you guys the damage that this thing is capable of. But just to provide you like a little bit of not a clarification, but a little bit of insight to sort of the landmark choices that you can combine with this Cataphract. Now, keep in mind the Cataphract, it's enclosed in scale armor, so implying that it's tougher than the knight counterpart. Powerful lance replaces the knight at a higher cost, and obviously with a higher cost comes higher damage, higher health pool, higher armor, all that good stuff, right? So you've got a really big tanky boy. And now you combine that with the fact that in Age 2, you took the Imperial Hippodrome, that's going to allow you to produce cavalry units quicker. And then in Age 3, you took the Cistern of the First Hill, which is going to give you that Pilgrim Flask technology, which gives you powerful healing. And now you can see this scary ball of Cataphracts beginning to build that have the ability to heal insane amounts while they're just in the middle of the fight, trampling everything in their path. It is just something of beauty to witness, but obviously it's a heavy cost, right? They are more expensive than knights, but nonetheless, I just want to tell you right now, when you witness it, your love for the Cataphracts will be infectious. I tell you right now, it will just, it's so wonderful. Anyway, next unit that we've got, the Varangian, it's gonna take me a while to pronounce all of these things, all right? Varangian Guard. Imperial bodyguards drawn from Northern Europe and beyond, Varangian Guards are powerful elite soldiers. By stowing their shield and swapping it for a great two-handed axe, the Varangian Guard trade armor for a significantly increased burst of damage with their berserking ability. So let's just break that down. First and foremost, they can stow their shield and swap it for a great two-handed axe. So this isn't just your typical upgrade like the Holy Roman Empire. This is actually needing skill. Once again, it's one of those things that you've got to remember that you've got it and, oh, I can press this button. And all of a sudden you trade your armor and you get massive damage. I didn't get to use this unit a whole lot, so I can't really speak too much about it. I was much more focused on, min-maxing my opening build orders with the Byzantines rather than testing out their units and the Varangian Guard. So it doesn't say that it replaces anything here, so I can't remember whether this is a replacement for anything, but it doesn't say that it does, so I'm just going to assume that it probably doesn't. So it's one of those extra unique units that you get. All right, so moving on to the next unit, the Kairosophon. I think that's how I pronounce that. I think it's got a little bit of a ch in there, which we don't have in English. In Farsi, we have the ch. It really sounds like we say hocking a golly in Australia, but it's not a pretty sound. So I think it's a very soft, like, Kairosophon, like that, basically. As a replacement to the ram, the Kairosophon sprays jets of Greek fire. These flames remain over time, leaving burning ground that deals damage to anything caught in the blaze. Now, in these pictures, we don't get to see the range of these units, but we did get to see the range of this unit in the preview that they played for us, or not the preview, but like the, I think it's the preview, the trailer for the expansion pack. We got to see the range. So that's one of the big things that jumped out to me about the Kairosophon is that it doesn't have the pathing issues that the ram has. So automatically, that makes me like, okay, the fact that it doesn't have pathing issues just immediately says to me, I can be aggressive with this civ, and it just allows you a lot of ability to be aggressive early on. Because obviously with the rams, you've got to be careful with them, you've got to be paying attention to them. With the Kairosophon, you really don't. It is just, you set and forget, and they'll do all the dirty work for you. It's wonderful having them. And of course, it's just cool, right? Seeing burning the ground and dealing damage to anything caught in the blaze. It's good fun. Anyway, we move on to the next unit. It's going to be the Limitani. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Might have to get that A a little bit faster. Limitani, maybe something like that. Limitani engage the shield wall with the Byzantine spearman replacement. While active, the shield wall drastically reduces incoming range damage at the cost of movement and attack speed. So essentially, you can take a lot less damage from range, but you're going to move a lot slower. You're going to attack a lot slower. So that's pretty much what you're throwing up. So I like this a lot. It makes sense. Think about like the early game. The best way I could think about it is kind of like the Malians, right? Malians love to play, or even the English, they love to play like that spear longbow, or Malians, donzo javelin thrower, that sort of thing. The same thing here. The Limitani are just going to be really strong on the defensive. Whenever that cavalry comes in, you're going to be able to move them forward, and they're not going to be able to take as much damage from the enemy ranged units. It means they're going to survive for longer. So I think this is a really cool unit, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes over the course of the game. But I suspect the most common thing that you're going to see players look to do is utilize this in the early game. Maybe in the late game, it's going to be a bit harder to use because you're going to have to remember to use it. But yeah, it seems like a bit of a weird skill, though. I will say that just because it does decrease the movement and attack speed. One of the things I would say, just from the information that I've got here, so while active, the shield wall drastically reduces incoming range damage at the cost of movement and attack speed. I'd love like there to be an upgrade in the Imperial Age where it would like allow, or it would revert the attack speed back up, just so that you could kind of like, if you're going into a fight, you just turn that on, and then that way you're moving slower, but at least you're attacking at the same speed. But anyway, look, we move on, we move forward. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on talking. That's essentially it. We've talked about the landmarks. We've talked about the units. We've talked about the unique mechanics that they've got. Let's get into these pictures and dive deep down into them and try and break apart everything that we absolutely can. All right, well, welcome to part 2 of the video. We're going to start off by taking a look at their wonderful flag that they've got, the Byzantines. Very, very regal is the word that comes to mind here. It's that lovely purple color. Nothing quite like it in the game at the moment, and it definitely will stand out. Next image we've got is going to be the key art. Obviously, we've got a lot of fire that's in here at the moment. Got some village. I don't think they're villagers. I think they're soldiers. You don't feel too bad for the soldiers. They knew what they were getting into, and they signed up for this. So look, they knew the Byzantines had fire. It's your own fault, guys. Anyway, next screenshot, we've got the cistern right here. Cistern sitting smack bang in the middle of what appears to be a Dark Age base for the Byzantines. And this is exactly how you should do it. Whoever's done these screenshots, they know what's going on. Town center down here. We've got the house, and then we've got the lumber camp. And we've got that hunt, and then finally the gold vein. And look at that, we've got all of the villagers around the cistern. That's really important because the cistern's going to be increasing the gather rate for all of these villagers. It's like a boost for every single gathering type. And we want to try and keep them close to the cistern. Keep in mind, as your base expands, you're going to need to expand out your cisterns so that you are able to make sure that all of those new villagers, or all of those villagers that are further away, are able to pick up that bonus as well. You want everybody operating at maximum efficiency. So we move on to the next screenshot here, and it is going to be the Grand Winery that we're able to take a look at. So we've talked about this landmark in depth before. It's one of my favorite landmarks to go up with. I've got a really nice strategy. I can't wait to share that strategy with you guys with this landmark. It is just an absolute killer landmark. So it looks kind of like the Archon Chapel, if I would describe it. I'd say it's like a mix between the Archon Chapel and the town center. It's the same width as all other landmarks, so you can stack those farms around it perfectly. So all you people out there that like to put those beautiful rings of farms around there, you're gonna enjoy it. The AoE on it is not as big as the as big as the Archon Chapel. I'll say that much. I mean, I probably shouldn't say too much, but yeah, that gives you a bit of an idea, and we can see behind it. We've got the town center here. Have we got like a little pasture or something on this town center? Is it just me? Wait, is that even the town center, or is that something different? I don't think I've ever... I'm looking at this like I'm having second guesses right now. I mean, that kind of looks like the front of the town center out over here, right? I'm going to assume this is the town center, and we just... Yeah, and that's the monument right there. I've never seen this before, though. These cool little fences. Look at this. This has got to be campaign or something, man. Look, this is so nice. Wait, that's not campaign. That's... So normally when a house spawns, it has like this nice... If you go into a game right now and just build an English house, and you'll see that, there's a well nearby. It gives you all of this cool little decals. These look like actual decals, but like this is well beyond what I expected. Anyway, very cool. Let's move on to the next screenshot, where we will take a look at another lovely one. We can see an aqueduct behind it, the big stone wall at the back, and of course, what appears to be a new biome. I can't remember this one 100%. But I will just say right now that as far as I remember for this one, the Golden Horn Tower is absolutely chef's kiss. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. As I mentioned, it's kind of like your military school, except it trains batches of units a lot slower, and they are mercenary units. That's pretty much it. That's all there is to know about it. That's it. You don't have to pay for them. It's just slowly over time. Next landmark that we're going to be looking at is going to be that foreign engineering company. So you might look at this screenshot for the first time and you think, why the hell are there Chinese nest of bees right there at the front? And that's because, as we mentioned earlier, Age 4 comes with the option of either producing siege engines from across the known world with the aid of the foreign engineering company. And that's what we've got here, the foreign engineering company. So I can't reveal what other siege engines you've got available to you, but I will just say now, it's good. It's good. There's gonna be a lot of people upset about it. Let's just put it that way. They're like, they can make what? Yep, they can make that. Anyway, it's a good screenshot. I like this one a lot, actually. This is a nice screenshot. Can I just remark, and I know I've remarked about this plenty of times before with the Byzantines, I love the style of buildings that they've got. It looks so nice. When I look back at this one right here, it kind of almost reminds me of the Spanish style that we see, but it's just a beautiful style. It is really nice. Oh, you know what that is? Can I reveal what that is? That's the Imperial Hippodrome right back there. We actually got to see this in the trailer. I'll show you guys the trailer a little bit later, because there's information in that we didn't really get to go over when it came out, because we couldn't, but now we obviously can because the information is being revealed. But yeah, that's the Hippodrome back there. All right, let's move on to the next screenshot, where we get to take a look at the most scary unit in the game. Well, I'll just say it, the most scary unit in the game. Look at the mask on these guys. Look at that face. Would you ever mess with a guy like that? How would you feel going up against a guy wearing full chainmail and that mask? Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. I don't want to fight. Anyway, that's the cataphract right there. So these guys have got the trample ability. It devastates anything that's in their path. When it comes to the unit, it's obviously a lot more expensive than the knight. I say a lot more expensive. I don't think it's a lot more expensive. I think it's like slightly more expensive, but anyway, as you'd expect with a more expensive unit, it's probably going to have bigger stats than the knight. So that's something to note. But you get to pair this up with really cool upgrades as well, or a really cool tech. So anyway, we'll talk about that more in the coming weeks, I'm sure. Next screenshot that we're going to have is going to be of the Varangian Guard. And we can see right here they do have that shield out, but of course you can always tuck that shield away if you want to do a little bit more damage. So I'm trying to think of situations where you might want to do more damage versus where you might not want to do more damage. So I can't remember the exact numbers, and even if I did remember the exact numbers, it wouldn't matter because they're always going to be subject to change. And on top of that, they're always going to be subject to NDA. So that's important to remember, Drongo. I'm trying to think of situations where it would make sense if you've got your shield out and you just want to pull out your second hammer and start hammering away. it would probably make sense against units that have got higher attack rather than lower attack. So if you're fighting against a knight, you'd probably want to pull that shield away. Because let's say if you've got 5 armor with the shield and then 1 armor without the shield, that means that you're taking 4 more damage. And the knight is already doing like 25 damage. So to go from 25 to 29 damage, it's not a big deal. Whereas if you're fighting against a spearman that's got like a base damage of 9, and now you've just taken that like 4 armor away, instead of him doing, say, 3 damage or 4 damage before, now he's doubling his damage. So I would say it kind of makes sense to go or keep the shield out against units that have got low damage, and then take the shield away when you're up against units that have got high damage. That's the only way I could really think about it. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. And I don't think they mentioned whether it was melee armor or ranged armor. It just says, Imperial bodyguards drawn from Northern Europe and beyond, Varangian guards are powerful elite soldiers. By stowing their shield and swapping it for great two-handed axes, the Varangian guard trade armor for a significantly increased burst of damage with their berserking ability. Yeah, so it doesn't really give you much of an idea there, but from the way that it sounds, because I can't really remember the unit that well, from the way that it sounds, you've got an ability berserking where you click it and you put the shield away, you get the two-handed axe, and then after some time you're going to get your two-handed shield, or you get your shield back. That's to me what it sounds like, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, we move on to the next unit, not the unit. It is the Hierosophant, and we can see right here, this is another great screenshot that we've got, flanked by notice the shields are the same as the cataphracts. They've got this teardrop shape to them. So you've got that shield right there. So these are the unique spearmen for the Byzantines, called the Limitani. We'll talk about those more in the next screenshot, but of course this is the ram replacement, the unique ram replacement for the Byzantines, the Hierosophant. It shoots fire out of this bad boy right here, so yes, it is, they're not blanks, I'll say that much. It is definitely, it's fiery. And behind it, we've got a siege workshop, we've got a barracks, and we've got what appears to be a stable, judging by the hoof that we see right there. Hey, what do you call that? The shoe? The horseshoe? I guess the horseshoe. Horseshoe. Horse collar? No, horseshoe. Anyway, we move on now to the next screenshot, which is going to be of the Limitani. Nothing really crazy going on here, just your standard. I think, are these elite? I mean, judging by their helmets, I'm kind of tempted to say that they're elite, because they do have that little bit of golden on the helmet. But yeah, nothing too crazy here. These are the guys that have got that unique ability, the shield wall. And then finally, we go on to the last screenshot, which I think we've already seen before. We've seen this screenshot. Where was this screenshot posted? I think this was posted on the forums, if I remember correctly. So we've already gone through this screenshot, but nothing, I don't know if I've got really anything to point out here other than you can see the cisterns. You can actually see inside the cisterns, and you can see the water level within them. You can't really determine what level it's at other than saying that's a lot of water. Yeah, that's a lot of water inside that cistern, yes. But yeah, realistically, nothing else really going on here. I think we've got the Grand Winery back here. I don't recognize too much more. I think there's another landmark here, maybe another landmark there, and then what appears to be, you can just tell by this, the sheer girth of it, this is undoubtedly the wonder for the Byzantines, and it is quite hefty, we'll say that much. And we move on now. So this is the video of the Sultan's Ascend official teaser trailer, and we can see here, so we'll play through a couple of these different clips. So here is the Byzantines with their Hierosophant, and you're going to see that, look at the range that it's got here, burning down this Japanese building. Like, we can slow-mo this a bit just so that we can talk about it with a little bit more freedom. Now let's get that nice and slow. So you can see that we've got some good range on this. So this unit here, one of the things that you're not going to have to worry about is pathing. You aim move that bad boy, it'll do it all for you. Long gone are the days where you have to worry about your rams bugging out. And of course, one of the other things to note is if we go back a little bit, you can actually see the fire. So it doesn't look that good because the pixels at the moment, you know, like it's not the best when you've got pixels like this and you zoom in. But I'm pretty sure that that's the fire on the ground, where if there are units in it, they're probably going to get immolated. We'll say that much. But you can see right here that the other ones are just going to move right up. The other Hierosophants just move up right next to it and look to focus it down. We've got some cataphracts in the background here as well. But let's go forward to we'll go back to the Byzantines, where we can see this previous screenshot or a previous piece of art Obviously, we've got the aqueduct, the cistern, we've got the walls, but we do also have, once again, up here, we've got that, the hippograph, if I remember correctly, the pronunciation of it. Let me double check and make sure I've got that name. The hippodrome, sorry, not the hippograph, the hippodrome. So that's it up there. And I think there's another landmark here. I can't remember the name of that one, but obviously we can't talk about that. That's under NDA. And then finally we get to see those olive groves in great detail as well. So that's going to be it for us. That is going to be all you guys need to know, at least at this point in time. That's all I can tell you about the Byzantines. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. If you've got any comments, make sure you let me know. And if you haven't already, make sure you pre-order the Sultan's Ascend, because I tell you what, I've had my hands on it. I know what it feels like. I've touched it, and I can tell you right now, there is so much content that is about to be at our fingertips. Like $15, 15 US dollars for just so much content. I endorse it. I endorse it. I encourage you, go ahead. I know it's anti-consumer. At least that's what that one guy in the YouTube comments was saying in this kind of voice. He was going, Drongo is very anti-consumer to be saying to pre-order. That was exactly his voice. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.